Jim, since we started doing this morning conversations, many people have been emailing or posting questions on Facebook. And this question I have today is one that many people have asked over the years. And so I thought it would be real good to get this on film and let people know an answer to this question. The question is, I'm an empath and I physically feel the pain of others. For years, I thought that was a good thing, and it's something that helped me in my coaching practice. Lately, however, it hurts, and I wonder how I can still coach but not feel the pain.
Yeah, this is a really good question, and it doesn't just apply to this person is aware enough that they can use the word empathy, and they are clearly aware enough where they've taken advantage of it to perceive how others feel, and then brought it into a skill set as a coach. What happens? There are many people, though, that don't understand what's going on to them. So empathy, let's define it in a real simple mechanical term. Empathy is part of the second chakra. There's like a little radar sonar machine that sends out a little pulse. And that pulse bounces off of everybody and then comes back. And the question on the pulse is, what is that feeling? And so mad, glad, sad, happy comes back. But a lot of times as a person is growing up and they are in a, let's say, a dysfunctional situation, whether it's school or home, where they're accused or there's lots of yelling, lots of anger, lots of emotion going on. And in many cases, they are the recipient of the energy of blame or those kind of things. So what happens is, in order to be safe, a lot of times the question on the second chakra is changed. So what is that feeling, mad, glad, sad, becomes what is that feeling about me? And all of a sudden, mad, glad, angry, resentful about me. And so you watch people who are hiders or who withdraw or who have a hard time engaging with society. Very spiritual people, particularly, are very, very sensitive. And so growing up with these different awarenesses on clairvoyance, clairsentience, in this case, clairsentience, as you perceive the world around you, you begin to do it from a distorted, functional question. So as in this person's case, as they get older and they start to use that, they begin to recognize, I can use this for my defense or for my awareness. There still begins to be a place where, particularly now as the world is shifting, as this transition to a higher dimension is happening, as you can't take your baggage with you on this journey, all begins to play out. What happens is this level of sensitivity is rising. And one of the focuses of all this work that we do in Mastering Alchemy is building those tools. And the tool that works absolutely sensationally for this is if you can master that concept of the rose on the edge of your aura, basically creating the space that this is me and that's Shakespeare's theater for my entertainment. But it's staying on this side of the rose, and it's basically becoming safe in your own space. See, again, the question is, what do you think of me? And you're constantly looking around. So if you can stay on your side and basically make this comfortable and define it for yourself, then that empathy begins to stop right at the edge of the rose, or the impulse of what are other people thinking begin to not be so strong. It begins to be kind of toned down as it passes through the rose. So figuring out how to use it in your practice to a great extent isn't about worrying about the second chakra. It's very much about structuring that aspect of yourself so you can perceive the world without being in risk or threat to the world.
But for a person who uses the second chakra to get information about the person they're coaching, when they use the rose, is that going to block the information that she gets?
No. In my experience in how I developed this awareness is, a lot of times I would be really conscious of other people's feelings, but I'd also be conscious of their pain. their shoulder hurts, they've got a problem with their knee, they're in resistance to something. So the wide spectrum of awareness comes about. So what I did is I basically really understand my rose, and I understand present time, and I allow that level of energy just to pass through. So if I'm sitting talking to somebody and all of a sudden I have a sense of my shoulder has a little twinge to it, it's a somewhat of a skill, but I actually allow my body to do the reading. So I can feel their anger, but it's very soft, or their pain in the shoulder, whatever it may be. So treat it as a skill, not as a something to run away from. And so for people who are healers, particularly people who are healers, because healers don't distinguish, they're looking for what's wrong, and I'm going to fix you, I'm going to help you, I'm going to put my hands on you, and all of a sudden that energy runs right through their hands into their body. So healers, particularly staying on your side of the rose and just allowing this empathy to be a tool, is going to give you a place where a number of things happen. I have a sense in the body that there's a pain here, but when you get out of your own survival, I don't think they like me as an unconscious driver. As a healer, you begin to find that your clairvoyance opens up, your telepathies open up, a lot of your other skills begin to be open. And it's very much about being in present time, being on your side of the rose, being grounded, and looking through the center of your head, or from that center of your head.
And I notice for myself that it's really important to, when the session is over, to make separations from that person.
Oh yeah,
Just clean them
separations.
out.
Separations are important all the time, because what we do is I like you and you like me, and you go away and I just go away with you.
Yeah.
You know, where you got in my space. So making separations from people is not like we are all one, the bigger picture.
Right.
This is a space where you have your own space. This is who you are, and that's who they are. So when you get done healing or coaching or assisting them, even in your marriages, your kids, your relationship, you carry them around all the time. Give them back what's theirs and take back what's yours. That doesn't mean I stop liking, loving you. It just simply means I can allow you to be who you are while I allow me to be who I am. And that empathy piece is something that becomes both an attractive, I want to know how you are so I'm sure I'm doing it right. I want to make sure and so I'm constantly feeling with the second chakra. So when you begin to make that separation and allow yourself to be stable, certain, capable, all those platform words, the capacity to be engaged with people actually increases the comfort level of your relationship quite significantly.
So relationship even in a coaching practice or a healing practice.
Oh yeah, just think about it. If I feel certain and I'm capable and I'm happy and I'm present and I'm on my side of the rose, I've got an enormous amount of range to communicate. But when I'm defensive and unsure and I'm not sure you really like me, and then I don't know that I really know what I'm doing, all of that instability allows this second chakra and that sonar device to be engaged quite often.
I think a follow-up question to this that I've heard over the years is, well, if I use this tool and I'm on my side of the rose and they're on their side of the rose, are they going to notice that I'm detached or I'm neutral? Is doing that going to affect them in a way that they think I don't like them?
Well, that's a development of the skill. So if you pull everything in and you think this is you being on your side of the rose, it's not very flexible, fluid, there's no mobility. But here's the rose and here's me. And you can be charismatic and playful. It's just simply, this is me and that's the world out there. And so it's like looking through a very thin glass window. It's not a barrier, it's not a protect, keep out defense mechanism.
But that other person won't say, whoa, what's wrong with him? He's like not here, he's not with me.
No, if you play with this and you start to recognize that you're comfortable and you begin to recognize words like certain and senior and this is who I am, there creates a strength and a fluidness in here That doesn't need to put people off at all. But it's a skill development, and it's something that requires practice when it doesn't count. It's not a defense mechanism. It's an ease of moving around, and this begins to be a tool to perceive rather than a tool to defend.
Very good.
Yeah. So these sessions are really good. You know, we should say something at this point also where, what do you want to know about? You know, Roxane and I sit here and we have these questions and discussions, and we think they're of value, and many people send questions, but let me invite you, if you have questions that you'd like to know about, please send them to hello@masteringalchemy, and we'll start to bring them into this morning session.
Very good.